What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now today we are going to be putting some new wheels on the 720. We're going to be throwing on some Porsche cookie cutters onto the 720. So I also got these off of one of the viewers of the channel, so he's probably watching the video right now, so thank you for hooking me up with these adapters. He sent me these all the way from Arizona. So these are 6 by 139.7 to a 5 by 130. So it's Nissan or pretty much any 6-lug mini truck adapter to the Porsche 5-lug, which is 5 by 130. I got some new tires and I got them mounted onto the wheels, and I just got done cleaning them, so we're gonna throw them on the truck now. For the front, I ended up going with 195/50 15s, and for the rear, I ended up doing 195/55 15s. Plus, I made the calculations, and with the tires that I have right now and the wheel setup, with this, it's the exact same diameter, so my RPMs aren't going to get all messed up on the freeway or nothing like that. And considering these are already smaller tires than what should be on these trucks to begin with, the RPMs aren't exactly on point, and they're a little bit worse than they should be from factory. Some people use a fender roller, which is probably one of the better options out there. Now, I don't like using fender rollers. I've tried using them in the past and I just can't seem to figure them out. So I've always used a hammer. I know it sounds pretty sketchy, but all my cars, I've used hammers, and I'll show you guys the proof right now. That way you guys can see kind of what I'm talking about. But I've used a hammer and I've had great results. So right here, I rolled these front fenders using a hammer. You can see there's no weird and awkward dents. Fairly clean. I pulled this with simply using a hammer. You can see the flare that I did on there. It's not perfect, but considering this was completely flat down and I flared it out like that to not rub with only using a hammer, I'd like to think that I did a pretty good job. Right here you guys can see on the 240, I also rolled these fenders with using a hammer. You'd see no weird and awkward dents or anything like that. So with all that being said, let's start to roll these with some hammers. First step is going to be to clean this lip from the inside. I usually just use a dirty rag and I stick it in there and just get all that dirt and grime out. And the reason why I'm doing this is because if you have any dirt or pebbles in here, when you roll this bottom lip up and you hammer it, you're gonna get the little divots coming out here where the little rocks and debris is trying to poke through, and it's just gonna mess it up and make it look ugly. You don't want to hit it outwards like this, because when you hit it outwards like that, all you're gonna do is pull this front face out. So what we want to do to start it off is we want to hit it up. That way it can start to fold it in. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit it up only on the edge like this, and we're gonna do little hits. This is gonna take a while, because if you hit it hard once, it's gonna fold it and it's just gonna make it look bad. So we're gonna just hit it little by little and you'll watch it start to fold. That's kind of the best way that I figured out. I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but this is kind of how I've always done it, and it worked for me, so that's why I'm sharing this advice with you guys. And another reason why we're doing this, I know some people are gonna ask, is for one, because I like the look when your wheel and your tire are super close to the fender. I don't like having them tucked. All right, you can see the outside looks like nothing even happened. It's not all bowed out or anything weird like that going on. And if you look from over here, we have a nice and tight razor edge compared to this. This is what it should look like all the way around. All right, well, I got the fronts on and I've been working on this nonstop all afternoon trying to get the perfect fitment, and I think I'm super content with the front now. I did raise the truck up about an inch, so now it's super good. The way I had it before, since I haven't tucked my exhaust or cut any of my cross members or anything, it was just kind of hitting too much. Now I usually drive it like that, and I daily drive it, and it's perfect with the 14s, but since these are a tiny bit smaller diameter, it was just kind of scraping a little more than it was before, and I just personally didn't like it. So I raised it up about an inch, and now it drives like a complete factory truck. Like, look at the travel that I have now. Like, I have so much travel now. So it's definitely a weird feeling, because I was hitting like some pretty big dips on purpose just to see what it feel like, and I never bottomed out. So I kind of don't like it because I'm used to having it be super low and feel super low. And since the suspension is nice and soft now and I have travel, it feels kind of too comfortable, which is, I know it's something weird, but I'm young, and to me too comfortable is like not a good thing. So I really want to lower it back down again. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the rears on, and then I'm going to see how it sits. If the rear sits lower, which I think it's going to sit lower, then I'll lower the front to match the rear, and then we'll be good. Also, I couldn't throw the rears on because I didn't have any of the lug nuts, the special lug nuts that you need to put the adapters on, the 3 Amigo adapters. So for anyone wondering, these are the 3 Amigo adapters. They're kind of like the old school ones where you put 4 lug nuts over here on one side, and then over here you have like these weird barrels that thread on. So it's definitely a weird design, definitely a extremely sketchy design. I'm not really a fan of it, but it's the only way that I can mount these onto the truck and have the fitment that I want without having to redrill my rear axle to the 5x130 lug pattern. But literally just right now, I ordered those yesterday around midnight when I was working on the truck, and got overnight shipping, and they literally just got here. So I ripped one up and tried to check it out. So now that we have the lug nuts, now we're going to jack up the rear. I already rolled this side yesterday, but I ran into an issue where I couldn't bolt the adapter to the truck. So now I'm going to start on that side and hammer and roll that fender up. That way I don't make too much noise since the sun's already going down. And then I'll throw the wheels on, and then we'll go for a little test drive and see if we're good. But also check out this. This is literally what I wanted. You guys know me, I want super tight fitment, but I want that old school style of wheel. So I think this is the best of both worlds. Freaking love it. Super tight. You guys can see, like, super tight, doesn't rub. I went lock to lock, and it's perfect. Since it's a pretty tight fit, I have this 19-inch socket that is perfect for these lug nuts. But since I don't have any thinner ones and these don't go in, and obviously you can see these are pretty shallow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind this socket down so it's thinner and I can actually fit it in there and tighten this thing. Once I tighten this, then I'll grind the excess lug nut off. That way the wheels can sit flush on here. All right, you can see now that we have our 5x130. Now you can see that I don't have these lug nuts on yet. So what I'm gonna do right now is, obviously I just wanna make sure that it's 5x130 and it's not moved to the side, which I just did, and the wheel fits on and we're good. Now that I know that these are in the perfect position, now I'm going to put all of these lug nuts on. Now these, I'll have a link in case you guys don't get any with your adapters, because I got these secondhand and I didn't get them. So I got these from Amazon. We're gonna have to trim these down, but these are M12 by 125, and these are what's gonna go on here. and these are going to hold the spacer onto the axle. But before I put the wheel on, I'm going to take all of these studs out. You can see they're just in there loosely, and I'm going to put some red Loctite on all of this, because last thing I want is for any of this to come loose with the vibrations or anything like that. But they should stay in there fairly good. For example, when you're tightening this, it's essentially trying to pull it out, and when it's pulling it out, it's fighting against the threads inside. So it's very unlikely that it's going to vibrate loose, especially when it's tight, because it's kind of forcing it apart from each other. But just to be extra safe, I'm going to put Loctite on all of these. And I also just sprayed some black $1 spray paint on the drums because they were looking a little rusty. And before, you couldn't really see them with ST wheels, but now you're going to be able to see them with the new wheels. So just so they look nice and black. Now all of this back here is going to get all painted and all nice, and I still have to weld in a couple. This is all of the reinforcements that I did on the frame, so I still have to weld this. The C-notch is welded on the inside, but the plate isn't welded to it, so I know that's people ask about that. You can see the racks are in there, so all of this is going to get all worked on once I get the bed off and then I finish the racks and install all my pumps and all that. But right now we're just focusing on getting the cookie cutters on. I also forgot to mention this, but I have this 19mm socket that I grounded down. That way it would fit inside of here, you can see, because if it was a normal socket, it wouldn't fit in there. Also, you're going to want to make sure you get a torque wrench and torque these to 80 to 90 foot-pounds. Right now, we're going to get our flap disc, and we're going to grind these down. That way they're flush, because you can see they're protruded out a little bit. Now, there is only two sizes of these, sadly. There is this size that you have to grind, and then there's a smaller size, a little more, I guess, less taller. And that one is just not enough. So that's why it's always better to get the ones that are a little bigger and then grind them down. That way they're flush. Damn, got this side all complete. I'm definitely gonna have to lower the front to match the rear, because you can see the rear is a lot lower than the front, which I knew from the beginning, but I just raised it up. But I'm gonna lower it just a tiny bit more. I'm gonna get the other wheel on over there because I don't have that one on yet. But I'm gonna lower it a little bit, see how it drives. If it drives good, I'll lower it a little bit more. I'll lower it until I don't like it, and then I'll raise it back up to the perfect height, just because to me, this is like a little too high, and I like it like that. Love that, look how tight that is. Man, these wheels are definitely gonna catch something on fire, that's for sure. All right, guys, well, we got the wheels on. Now I'm having a slight issue where this tire is rubbing, but that is also partially my fault. The reason I say it's my fault is because that's what I want. I want it to be super tight like that. But the problem with this is, since I do have a 4-stage rack, the bed doesn't sit perfectly centered. It sits off to the side a little bit. So you can see right here, it's hard to tell, but the bed is shifted over this way a little bit. So over here, we have a bigger gap. I know it's not much, but if I center the bed, it won't rub anymore, and it'll be all good. So I just have to do that real quick. It's barely rubbing, but I just don't want any rubbing at all. I know usually I want the tire to rub itself, like on my car over here. I'll show you guys real quick. Perfect example. I want the tire to rub, but on this one I don't, because these are brand new tires and I don't really want to go through them. But yeah, check it out. Look how tight the front is. Nice and tight. Super soft. I ended up raising the truck about 1 inch. I don't know if I mentioned this in the video, but now we actually have travel. Look at that. That's crazy. I know it might look like low to some people, but I had this truck probably about 1 inch lower, and it looked even better. And it rode perfectly good. And now that I raised it, I almost don't like it because it drives like a stock truck. I've modified the front suspension, I've modified the rear for it to be like that, obviously. But yeah, it's almost too soft, so I kind of want to go back down so it's nice and stiff. But I think for now I'm just going to drive it, and then I'll slowly lower it. But for now, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Got my dad over here in the back washing his truck. Check him out. Oh. I know you guys like looking at this truck. But yeah, if you guys are watching this the week that I post it, this Sunday we're going to be at Leg Lake, which is, you know, the first time I've ever been there. I've only seen videos of all the mini trucks there back in the day, and I've always wanted to go. And the New Era guys are finally, they're the first ones to throw a mini truck meet in like, I believe like 3 or 4 years. So shout out to those guys for doing it. But yeah, we're gonna be all cruising out there this Sunday. If you guys want to come check out the trucks, check out a bunch of old school mini trucks, and enjoy a nice view, or even come cruise with us or kick it with us, then this is your invitation. The February 26th of 2023, we're going to be out there at Leg Lake on Sunday. If you guys are watching this video the week that it's uploaded and you check your calendars and it's this upcoming weekend, I would highly recommend you guys come out, hang out with us. I'll have free stickers with me. If you guys want some, come ask for them. I don't mind giving them to you guys. If you guys just want to chat about trucks, show me your trucks, ask questions about my trucks, I'm more than happy to talk. I know a lot of people will come out to the events and they'll look at me kind of funny, but they won't say anything. So it's kind of weird, you know, they'll just stare at me, but they won't talk to me. So if you see me, come talk to me. I don't mind talking to you guys. I actually enjoy talking to you guys a lot. I know some people are shy. I'm shy. But if you guys want to come talk, I'm more than down to talk and hang out. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what you guys think of the new cookie cutters. Are they better than the STs, or are the STs better? I don't know, man. It's kind of hard. Chrome STs would put up a pretty good match with these things. But these are my dream wheels. I've always wanted these, so I finally got my hands on them.